All right, so get this. President Trump just dropped a bombshell. He's creating a U.S. crypto strategic reserve.
A what?
Yeah, you heard that right. A crypto strategic reserve like we have for oil, but for Bitcoin, Ethereum, the whole shebang.
Wow. That's pretty wild. Some people are going crazy for it. Others are like, what is he thinking?
Yeah.
We've got a ton of articles and analyses here, so let's really dig in and try to understand what's going on.
I'm with you. Let's dive in. So this reserve, it's going to include Bitcoin, obviously, but also Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, and Cardano. It's not just a Bitcoin play, which is interesting in itself.
Right, and you know what's even crazier? Even Wyoming, which is like crypto heaven, they shot down a similar idea at the state level.
Exactly. So why is the federal government jumping in now? What's the deal?
It's a great question. Let's start with Trump's own words.
Okay, so right from the horse's mouth, in his Truth Social announcement, he said, this reserve is to elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration.
So basically framing himself as the crypto savior, and Biden is public enemy #1 for the industry.
Yeah, there's definitely a political angle here trying to rally his base and maybe even win over some new crypto fans.
For sure. And let's not forget, he made a lot of promises to crypto donors during his campaign.
Oh, yeah. This could be him paying back some favors and solidifying his support in that world.
It all makes sense when you connect the dots. But, okay, so we see the politics of it, but what about the economics? What are people saying about the potential impact?
Well, conservatives are saying this is a brilliant move, a genius play to make the U.S. dollar even stronger and really boost the economy.
Interesting. So they're saying that embracing crypto is the key to keeping the U.S. ahead in the global tech race.
Exactly. They think it's going to attract tons of investment to the U.S. crypto market. And if Trump delivers on his promise of making regulations clearer, that could be huge.
Yeah, that could definitely incentivize businesses and investors to set up shop here in the U.S.
And speaking of regulations, things have totally flipped since Trump took over. The SEC under Biden was all over crypto companies with lawsuits and investigations.
Right. And now they've reportedly dropped a bunch of those lawsuits and even backed off from some investigations. It's like night and day.
It really is. So now the big question everyone's asking, is this whole crypto reserve thing even legal? Can he do this without Congress getting involved?
Right. Well, some people are saying he could use this thing called the Exchange Stabilization Fund.
What's that?
It's like this giant emergency fund the government has to keep the dollar stable in international markets.
Oh, so they're saying he can just dip into that for crypto.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But others are saying, hold on. Creating a whole crypto reserve that's way beyond what that fund was meant for. This needs congressional approval.
Okay, so that's where things get interesting because even Wyoming, a state that loves crypto, they said no to a similar idea for a Bitcoin reserve at the state level.
Right. They were worried about all the volatility in the crypto market.
And speaking of volatility, remember what happened right after Trump made his announcement?
Oh, yeah. The market went nuts for a minute.
Bitcoin shot up past $92,000 and the total crypto market exploded by over $300 billion.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But then it all fizzled out just as fast. It's a wild ride.
It just shows you how unpredictable this whole thing is.
Yeah.
Even with the government getting involved, it's still a gamble.
Definitely. And here's another wrinkle. Even Senator Lummis, who's a big crypto supporter, even she's saying they need to convince Congress that this reserve is a good idea.
So even if Trump's determined to push this through, it's not going to be easy.
Not at all. But let's move on to another piece of this puzzle. The ethics of it all. There are already people accusing Trump of trying to manipulate the market.
Oh, yeah, and they're pointing fingers at David Sachs, Trump's so-called crypto czar.
Right, and the timing of when he sold his crypto holdings is pretty suspicious.
Yeah, some sources are saying it happened right after Trump took office, while others claim it was before he even started.
That's a big discrepancy, and it's definitely raising some eyebrows.
It makes you wonder if this whole thing is just a way for Trump and his buddies to get rich.
And don't forget about Sachs' connection to Elon Musk and their investments in crypto startups.
Right. There's a whole Silicon Valley angle to this that adds another layer of complexity.
Definitely. And we can't forget about the Trump family's own ventures in the crypto world. Remember those Trump and Melania meme coins?
Oh, yeah, those were controversial. People were accusing them of using their position for personal gain.
It does make you think about the motivations behind all of this.
It does. So we've got politics, economics, ethics, all tangled up in this crypto reserve.
And to maybe get some answers, we've got this big White House crypto summit coming up on March 7th.
Right. This is where it all goes down. We've got industry leaders, government officials, investors. Everyone's going to be there.
This summit could be a game changer. We might finally get some details about how this reserve is actually going to work.
And maybe they'll address some of these ethical concerns that are swirling around.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of regulatory framework they come up with and how they plan to deal with things like market manipulation.
This is where it gets really interesting. Will we get some concrete answers? Will the market freak out or stay calm? It's going to be a wild ride.
No doubt about it. This is just the beginning.
So much going on here. But, let's step back for a sec. Why should our listener even care about all this, whether they're like a crypto whiz or just hearing about this for the first time?
It's a good point. This whole thing with Trump and this crypto reserve, it could really affect everyone's financial future, whether you're into crypto or not. I mean, if this actually works and makes the crypto market more stable, if it brings in more investment, that could lead to more people using crypto, and eventually the value of these digital assets could really go up.
Right, that's the optimistic view. But what if this whole thing blows up in our faces?
Exactly. It could be a total disaster. We're talking taxpayer money tied to these super volatile cryptocurrencies.
Not to mention all the rumors about corruption and market manipulation.
It's a huge gamble with really high stakes. And that's why we're diving into all this, to help people understand what's really going on and make smart decisions. We've talked about the potential upsides and downsides, but there's something else we need to think about: the ethics of it all.
Yeah, the potential for market manipulation. That's a big red flag. We're talking about a president with a history of, well, let's just say, putting his own financial interests first.
And his family getting involved in crypto with those meme coins, it definitely doesn't look good.
It makes you wonder if this whole crypto reserve thing is just another way to line their pockets.
It's not a crazy thought.
Yeah.
And then there's David Sachs, Trump's crypto czar, selling off his crypto holdings right before this announcement.
Yeah, even if it was technically legal, it just looks bad. It makes it seem like something shady is going on.
It definitely raises questions. And it really highlights the need for transparency and accountability with this whole thing.
Totally. The crypto world is already kind of the Wild West with all the scams and shady stuff going on. The government getting involved could make things even worse if they're not careful.
It's really important for all of us to hold our leaders accountable and demand transparency, especially when we're talking about something as risky and unpredictable as crypto.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the U.S. side of things, but let's zoom out even further and look at the global implications. This is sending shockwaves around the world.
No doubt. It's a power move by the U.S. embracing crypto, like this, creating this reserve. It's basically saying, we want to be the boss of the digital asset space.
Right. China's already doing its own thing with crypto, trying to control it within its borders. And other countries are definitely watching us closely to see how this plays out.
It's a fascinating time. It's like we're seeing the global financial landscape being reshaped right before our eyes.
We could see other countries scrambling to create their own crypto reserves, maybe starting a whole new kind of competition between nations.
Or it could backfire spectacularly and hurt the U.S. economy in the long run.
It's a high-risk, high-reward situation. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about power, global influence, the future of the whole financial system.
This story has it all: technology, economics, politics, ethics, even global power struggles. It really reflects all the challenges and opportunities we're facing as a global community.
As we're wrapping up this part of our deep dive, we want to leave you with something to think about. What if digital currencies actually become the norm and replace the money we use today?
Right. Imagine a world where everything is decentralized, where central banks and governments don't have as much power as they do now.
Is Trump's crypto reserve a step towards that future, or will it fall apart because of all its internal contradictions and maybe even Trump's own ambitions?
We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, this is just the beginning of the story.
So we've got this White House Crypto Summit coming up on March 7th. This thing could be huge for the future of this whole crypto reserve idea.
Yeah, it's their chance to really lay out their plan, hopefully with a bit more transparency than we've seen so far. I think the whole crypto community, investors, really the whole world is going to be watching this thing closely.
What about you? What are you most curious about? What are you hoping they'll talk about?
For me, it's all about the details. How is this reserve actually going to work? Will the government be buying up all this crypto? And if so, where is all that money coming from? What about the Exchange Stabilization Fund? How does that fit into all of this?
Right. And what about security? I mean, we've seen some pretty big crypto hacks and thefts. How are they going to keep all these digital assets safe?
That's a great point. Cybersecurity is going to be a big deal for sure.
Right.
And they definitely need to address all these concerns about market manipulation.
Yeah, for sure. They need to talk about David Sachs' role in all this and how they're going to prevent these conflicts of interest. Transparency and accountability, that's what we need.
Absolutely. And, beyond the specifics of the reserve itself, I'm also interested in how they plan to handle the bigger picture of crypto regulation. Will this pro-crypto attitude actually lead to clear guidelines that help innovation but also protect investors?
Those are all great questions. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on the summit to see what happens. But for now, let's zoom out again and look at the bigger picture.
If you really think about it, this whole crypto reserve thing, whether it works or not, it shows how much governments are starting to take digital assets seriously. They're realizing that crypto is becoming more and more influential and could have a big impact on the global economy.
It makes you wonder about the role of government in this whole thing. As things become more decentralized, can governments really control something like crypto? Or will it always find a way to operate outside the system?
That's a really interesting question, and I think it's one that we're going to be grappling with for a long time. This move by Trump, it could encourage other countries to jump on the crypto bandwagon, maybe leading to this global race to dominate the digital asset space.
Or it could have the opposite effect. Maybe other countries will get scared and crack down even harder on crypto because they're worried about losing control over their own financial systems.
It's hard to say for sure, but certain things are changing really fast, and we need to stay informed and be ready to adapt. The future of finance is being written right now, and crypto is a big part of that story.
So what does all this mean for our listeners? Well, if you've been thinking about getting into crypto, maybe now is the time to do some research and really try to understand this whole thing. It's complicated, but it could change the game completely.
Even if you're not interested in investing, the rise of crypto is something we all need to pay attention to. It has the potential to change so many aspects of our lives, from how we bank and shop to how we interact with governments and institutions.
It's a brave new world out there, folks. And as always, knowledge is power. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating world of crypto.
And don't miss the White House Crypto Summit on March 7th. What happens there could have major consequences for years to come.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.